All right. Here we are. Oh, and the camera. Didn't do the camera, folks. It always falls. Why wouldn't he do the camera? He knows that's a problem. Anyway, he is me. Anyway, much love to everybody. Namaste. Good people. I've added this little guy over here. This little poster. It says Om Nom Shivaya. Bit of a mantra, a chant that some people use. It's also a neat song that's been turned into, and good stuff. It's got the Om symbol on there. A little bit helps with my Namaste, good people thing. When people see that, a little bit of visual to it, and I love it. Yay! Wonderful colors too. Basically, starting up the BroStream, and to start it up, I have brought my bro. What's up, bro?
Hey, everybody. I like it. Looks good.
Thank you.
And I like the shirt.
Cool.
And I got to ask this. Is that what they said in the Temple of Doom movie when he was
It
going down in the
is.
pit?
Om Nom Shivaya, Om Nom Shivaya, Om Nom Shivaya.
Right,
Yeah.
because we used to say that, and I didn't realize it meant
Yeah.
that. The second you
Yeah.
said that, I was like, wait, why does that sound familiar?
I believe it's kind of like
Well,
Om, the eternal sound, but then in the name of Shiva,
right.
kind of. Om Nam Shivaya. Shivaya. And
That's crazy.
yeah, there's some really neat chants that people turn into. Some really sort of that like stringy kind of like that very Eastern feel kind of stuff. It has like Om Nam Shivaya, Om Nam Shivaya, like that kind of stuff. And then
Oh,
there's
yeah.
some people that do it with heavy percussion, and it's like Namah Shivaya, Ole Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole Namah Shivaya. So it's like it's been around for ages, and it's got a real feel to it. It's got
Right.
celebration and all that kind of stuff involved.
Well,
And
I think language came out of music. We had music
right,
first, I believe.
right, pattern,
And then,
meter, yeah,
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 doing some certain things. And because it's like why saying the same things in certain language doesn't sound like music, but in certain languages it's got a rhythm to it.
right, yeah, yeah, exactly. Like each language has its own sort of rhythm and
Yeah.
presence that's different than the others. I feel that.
And I
But
just
yeah.
think we probably figured out music and rhythm and that kind of like, even if it was just
Yeah, yeah.
stuff, we probably figured that out before language, I would imagine.
Right? Just notice the pattern, and then,
And then
pattern
okay.
became, yeah, from pattern came song because that's what it is, but then from pattern came language, possibly, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, well, from song came language. It's like, okay, let's make these words because that's what we mean, and then you start talking regularly and stuff. But like, I don't know. That's why I think they do hymns, and almost every religion has
Yeah.
hymns and song and stuff in it that are ancient.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, in the meditative practice that I go by, sound and light are major things. So, like, sound is like where they say you see the light and everything like that. And through meditation, you get to a point where you do actually see like a brilliant light that happens, and then it's like everything is filled with light. Like when they say that like happens for real. And
Oh yeah,
then you get to a stage where you're listening usually to multiple sounds, but it's all about tuning which ones are actually body sounds, which ones are like existence and meditative sounds and things like that. And eventually, finding the pure sound is actually what pulls you out of body to have that experience. The sound itself does the pull, and then you get to have your meditative full experience of like, hey,
right,
okay, death is not necessarily a permanent thing. Perhaps I'm now definitely not in my body. So
right.
what happens without my body regularly? These questions just kind of occurred to you, and and then you have your experience. So
Well, that's why
But
I think we
sound
can
is
all
big,
understand
and
music.
sound, you can have high meditative experiences without having the big sound experience. The big sound experience
Right.
is that's not everybody has that. That's everyone can hear that, but when it pulls you and you because it's just as
Right.
I guess the out of body experience is what I'm saying. Sound is one way
Oh
to
yeah,
have
yeah.
the out of body experience, like finding and
Oh,
tuning
definitely.
into that. But yeah, the out of body experience
That's why,
as
like, when we all go to concerts, you do feel connected to everyone.
right? Yeah.
You know, I really think because you're all doing the same rhythms, you're all doing the same type of things,
Mhm. Mhm.
and music is the one of the universal languages. Just like we all kind of laugh the same way. Everyone kind of, you got a different laugh for people, but everyone laughs the same way. It's not like they laugh in an accent. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right. Yeah, no, it's true. There's certain
In music, you
yeah,
can get without
so true.
accent. Like there are different styles of music, but generally we can all listen to music the same way without having barriers, which
Yes,
that's
no,
why.
100%. And if the lyrics aren't too tuned to like a narrative prose story style, the words
Right,
also can be. Like if words are more toned towards the meter and feel, you know, in a more poetic sense rather than in a
right.
literary sense, I mean, in like
Well,
a
poetry would
literal
be the
literary sense.
the marriage of rhythm and words.
Right. So I'm down with that, and it's like I always felt, and I know you're even less for the lyrics than I am, but I've always felt more on the side of the rhythm and that the lyrics should fit into it because when I started listening to things in other languages, I started to realize, and our language does it too, that there is a difference between like a stark difference. Like, okay, this is a song that language is narrative, and this is a song that language is part of the feel and meter and everything. And once
Right.
I realized that, I had much more respect for the things where the language fits in. But I don't know, in music quality wise. But then if you want to tell a story with a musical background, that's beautiful too. But to me, it doesn't feel as wholly musical as when the words fit in. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's almost like I'm listening to an audiobook if I'm listening to a song that's a narrative, and that's beautiful because I listen to audiobooks all the time. But if I'm listening to like the full music is when it's
Right.
poetry, it's in there.
Yep.
The sound is it's high at the right time, it's deep at the right time, it's not there at the right time, it hits at the right time, it doesn't hit, I don't know. I'm over explaining, but I really enjoy the topic and I know you do too, so I just want to
No, and
spill
that's
my
why I
guts and
think
then let you talk. But that's
right,
my
but that's
that's my
why I
deal.
think certain songs hit differently and are hits because they marry the two together so perfectly.
Yes, I can feel that.
And it's like why someone who likes lyrics will like certain music, someone who likes music will like certain music, but then there's also those forever songs that you just everyone can get behind type of
Right?
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, I've been listening to actually my favorite things a bunch because that's my favorite Christmas song.
Oh, that is such a great one, and so many people do a great version of that
And
song.
jazz versions of it are great, and
Yeah,
there's no
I know.
lyrics. And
Right?
it's
That's true too.
I listened to like four different versions of Coltrane playing it,
Oh, right, Coltrane,
and
yeah.
with he does the soprano sax on that.
Oh boy, really? That's
Yeah,
just yeah. Freaking
and I didn't know,
Coltrane.
but
I did not know
that
how
was
versatile he was.
he's crazy.
Like as far as different saxes, you know what I mean? Like I
Oh, he
thought
played
he
all
was
of them. I
all
don't know if he ever played a baritone, but I'm sure he could. But I know he
right.
played alto, soprano, and tenor.
For some reason I always felt him as tenor, but I might just be silly
Tenor
and
was what
not
he
know
was
my
kind of
Coltrane.
known for,
Okay.
but tenor and soprano are what he was known for sure.
Oh, all right. Yeah. See, I didn't know that. I just
But he played tenor when he was with Miles for the most part, and then when he went solo, he played a lot of soprano sax
nice.
because it was solo-y. But when he played with Miles and that earlier jazz stuff, he was, there was a trumpet, there was a this that were doing the soprano stuff, so he played tenor quite a
Right.
bit. Yeah, he's one of those. I mean, they always say there's Charlie Bird,
Charlie Parker, is
Charlie
he be the
Parker. Like
bird,
his name is
bird,
Bird. Well, Bird was his middle
Birdman,
name,
or
like
yeah,
his nickname. But yeah,
yeah.
uh, and then Coltrane, and then everyone else.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Just like there's like Louis Armstrong, then Miles, and Dizzy
Right?
were around the same time, and then everyone else.
And if you want a good anomaly, there's also Pharaoh Sanders.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was the avant version of it.
Right? That's
Like
what I'm
he would put
saying.
two saxophones in his mouth at a time.
Oh my god, freaking guy. And probably like produced amazing good stuff.
Oh,
Like,
he did crazy stuff.
I mean, no, I
Like
know,
if
but I
you
don't
didn't
know which
know,
one was the two sax. It's just like, how is he
you
doing
wouldn't
that?
know if
Probably.
because it was on record for the most part. You didn't see him live doing it.
Yeah.
Like you had to. That was when you had to read liner notes or go see him live, and you're like,
Right?
oh, that's how he makes that sound.
That
Like, holy crap!
motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How you do that? Yeah.
But I didn't know my favorite things. I was actually talking with Mom about it. That was from Sound of Music. They wrote that song for Sound of
Yeah.
Music.
I was deeply
I never
surprised
watched
by
that
that.
movie really, but
No, me neither. And so many people are mega fans of that. It's got to have some realness to it because all these theater kids and shit and all these like music people really like that. There's got to be some
oh,
depth to
it's.
that
I
thing.
mean, if
And
just
I
that.
should give it the time of day, honestly, but I have
Well, that's
not.
what I mean. Like just that. Just my favorite things alone make to me is like okay, that's a masterpiece. Like, and
Right,
I
there
think they
must be
have like
something heavy
each
about
song
that.
is probably like a standard as they say now.
Right. Yeah, no, there is a lot of that from that. Sound of Music is like just, what do
Yeah,
they
I
say?
mean,
Part
really,
of the
up until
American
the
Songbook
'50s,
or something like that.
yeah, up until the '50s or '60s, there was more musicals probably than movies.
Quite possibly.
Like you probably went out and saw musical acts more than you saw a movie.
Right?
Up until like the '60s or '70s when, because I mean, what was A Wonderful Life was '40s, maybe '50s, but
Right? Hmm.
I don't think it was '30s because that was still silent movies, right? '30s were still silent movies, I believe. Well, I shouldn't say that, but because Snow White, I guess, was 30 something.
What? I just got ripped off. I mean, not. Oh, sorry. In the game,
Oh,
I fused four mods that were heroic mods, and they came out a purple mod.
well, it must be a badass mod then.
Well, it's a
But I
20.
know
It's
what
a
you mean.
it's a level 24, but the level was 24 of the other ones, but it came out a purple. That's weird. All right,
But maybe the
maybe
stats,
heroics
maybe.
have to be attained. Maybe heroics can't be fused. But I don't know.
Well, I haven't done 4 heroics yet either.
I
I've
haven't
only done like
yeah.
I've added like one or two.
Yeah, this was
Because
the first time
heroic
I did it.
is there a level above heroic or
I
is that?
I don't think so, but there might be a
Well, we haven't
legendary.
found it yet. We
I
haven't
think
found it
there's
yet, at least.
legendary, but yeah, we haven't found it if there is. Anyway, I was just fusing my mods and trying to get my suit set up while we're chatting because
No, you should, because I'm all set with it, and you definitely should do that.
yeah.
I fused up all my stuff. I dismantled all my other stuff, so
Nice.
I'm starting on a fresh page, and I'm pretty
I
I'm pretty
absolutely
jacked
love
now.
talking about this stuff though.
Oh yeah, but I don't know. I just that my favorite thing. It's like one of the few songs that like I could listen to anyone doing. I would listen to Tony Bennett doing it,
Yeah, yeah.
and
No, Bennett's cool.
but
But yeah.
well, but the one I'm trying to find the one that was because I was asking Mom the other day, um, because when we had Christmas music back in the day when we were young, like
Right.
we had a record or we had a tape, and like
Mhm.
it was like mixtapes, and you never knew who the people were. It wasn't like
Right.
now where like everyone. And I'm trying to. I think it's Andy Williams. The only one I could find that kept coming up was this guy Andy Williams, who's one of these like crooners, like a 50s, 60s crooner.
Right.
And it sounds like the one that I remember, but I was like, because I know it was a male voice of the My Favorite Things, the guy that sang it. And back then, you never thought to like, oh, who it was Christmas music. It wasn't. But
For
we
some
always
reason,
had a
oh
few
no, that's
albums and stuff. Cause I don't feel that, and it was like it was a little on the low side. I knew it definitely wasn't because the second I heard that Sound of Music one, I was like, oh yeah, that's what most people actually listen to my favorite things.
Right, that's what they're thinking.
But it's like somewhat of a big band and a crooner guy. And I thought Frank Sinatra maybe and stuff, but he doesn't even have
Could
that
be Andy
song in
Williams.
there.
He was huge as F and
Yes.
like forgotten
Yep.
to the ages for some reason. I mean, he was mega huge.
Well,
Like people loved that dude, and then it's like no one remembers him.
well,
I mean,
that's
not
the
no
thing,
one
it's like-
remembers him, but you know.
Well, that's what I mean. Like that whole style of music. I mean, no one knows really big bands and stuff anymore.
Right, right.
You know, and that was like Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa.
Yeah,
I can't
Oh
think of
my
his
God.
name now, but
That's-
like Benny something or whatever.
Benny
like,
Goodman.
Yes.
Benny Goodman was
Like,
a
they
bit of
were-
a
they were the
shyster, apparently.
superstars.
But no, they
What's
were.
that?
Benny Goodman was a bit of a shyster, and like apparently
Well, a lot of
stole.
them were.
Like he didn't have as much talent, and he was he was like the amalgamator of the talent, and kind of
Yeah,
ruled
well, he
with
was
an
a
iron
conductor,
fist, But everyone gave him the credit for, and even the I don't know, but yes, I mean I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a silly
No,
random
that's-
fact, you know what I mean, that I
No,
heard.
that's-
And who
I mean-
knows, what you hear,
I mean, look, even if you think about it, the last one of that was James Brown.
right?
He didn't play any instrument or anything, but he was like a dictator of music, and
Right?
no one else would have came up with it without him telling them to do it. So you can't give him shit. But they
No,
were assholes.
100%. Yes, and they were, but
You
they
know,
were,
like-
yeah. And that's what I wanted
But
to
they
do
knew
with
what they
you
wanted.
and your pals. I wanted to like kind of be producer guy on top of some of that stuff, because I know I have like the mind for that feels, but I don't have as much physical musical talent to create the music. You know what I mean? But I have a good feel for like
Well, that's how
mood
I always
and
felt
whatever,
like I was too, as a
Oh,
drummer.
yeah. But you have
Being like,
a bit of
you just-
virtuosic shit. Like you can play a few different instruments. You're really good at drums, but you can play a few other things competently.
Right.
And for
But
me,
it's,
it's
hard
like
for me to tell
I can.
people how to play it.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I feel
Just do
comfortable in
this.
that, like describing it sort of poetically to try to, I won't know all the terms, but I feel like arts-wise, that's more my function, an amalgamator of talents and things.
Right. But
As
you-
far as
you need
music
real
goes,
people that can interpret it too, which is
yes,
different.
100%, which is why you and friends are good. Like, other people might not get it. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I feel like that's where more my feels, and that's more where I sit rather than the. Because I can rip on a djembe, but you could probably rip on a djembe way better than me. And you haven't even played a djembe as much as I have. You just are a drummer and you have that feel. You know what I mean? That creating music is way more in you than it is in me. You know what I mean?
Right, and you can draw a hell of a lot better than I can.
Right? So
Whereas
maybe,
I
right?
can get it across.
And you can get some
what I wanna
kick-ass
draw,
art,
but
and I can, yeah.
I would ask you, it'd be like, hey, can you draw this better?
Right? Oh, right. Yeah. So the lines and the whatever are smoother with my hand, and the lines and the frequencies are smoother with your hands.
Yeah,
and
I mean, there's
the
just
sound.
something you
Yeah, no,
gravitate
that's
to.
like that makes sense a lot. It does, because I feel that we each have a different feel for like a different focus, but we're definitely both artsy. But yeah, no, I feel exactly that. Yeah, I have more of the artist hand, and you have more of the artist's muse or ear. Yep, that's what it is.
Yeah, you got the hand, I got the ear.
That's all right. Yeah, we
And
need someone with a
together we
mouth.
make man.
Who's got a damn mouth, and we're ready.
Right?
Yo!
Well, I was never big into lyrics, so.
Right, there we go. Full circle. Judging! Conversation done.
And now-
Conversation achieved.
Take it one step more.
Uh-oh.
Do you? I think this was true, and this could have been me just making it up. But
Right?
Grandma and Pop, we listened to a lot of John Denver albums at Grandma and Pop's. They liked him a lot, right?
Yeah, a bit they did.
Because-
Yes. No, we did listen to John Denver there. He wasn't one of their absolute
was-
faves, but he was.
But they had a lot of their records because I was looking up some of John Denver's songs and I saw the album covers and I was like, I know that.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, why the hell? And I was like, it had to be maybe Yaya and Pop, not Yaya and Papu. Really, they really didn't.
No, they
do a
were
whole lot
not
of music stuff.
Denver at all.
I mean, maybe Mom and Dad had it, but
If
I
anything,
know,
they
I'm
had
pretty
Greek,
sure-
odd Greek
Yeah.
operas and stuff, which was interesting.
Yeah, right. They had some more of like theater type
That
music
classic
stuff.
like chung 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 chung, all that like
Right, right.
that Greek dancing in a circle stuff.
And they had that cool ass cabinet thing that they never used.
I know we would like open it up and explore it.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, you got to take off the cups and do
Right?
all this." And it's like, wait, the record player. How don't you
I
just
know.
have it open and ready to like? But I want to say, up at Grandma and Pop's, we listened to actually because I remembered. I mean, they had not country stuff all over the place, but like that kind of like because that really, I mean, it's now considered country, but John Denver was more of like a pop country. He wasn't really country.
Like hippie country, something like that. Like.
Yeah, but they only had like 12 or something, they only had a few albums. And I remember
Mhm,
we would
mhm.
just listen to it. And I remember the covers of them more than the songs. But
Right. Yeah, that smiley
I was
face of
looking them up
John
and I was
Denver
like,
with his
yeah,
circle glasses and
yeah,
like
like the John Lennon
an out of
glasses. And
focus
like,
background, and it's just like,
right, they
dude, this
had some
guy's
Beatles.
high
They
and
had a
happy.
couple of Beatles. Yeah.
We didn't know what high
Right,
was, but we
Rocky
knew what
Mountain
happy
High.
was. Yep. Yeah, it's literally an album
Yeah.
and a song.
And it's good too, actually.
No, it is actually good. His voice is amazing, whether you like his style or not, or whatever. He's just one to be appreciated. The skill of his physical, musical
But
voice and musical ability is just great. Like
I
whether,
also feel that like was the thing back then. If you had a record back then, you pretty much had some skill and some stuff. Like once the 80s and 90s came around, it was kind of like everyone you could just be a different thing, but like you had
yeah,
to have a voice back then.
you
Like
could be
even all the
produced,
60s stuff, like
and if you could be produced
yeah,
and
yeah,
they could
right.
toss you into uh, a box, then yay.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
yes,
But
that
that's what
became
I mean.
way
Like
easier to do in the 80s and
all
90s.
that like doo-wop stuff and stuff that
Right, right.
mom and dad used to listen to and we would put on in the car all the 50 stations like those
Right, right.
guys actually could sing and stuff and they all had one like they were like four people singing into one microphone, it wasn't
Yeah.
isolated, it wasn't all that and everything
Yeah, yeah, and the sound was
like you
catching
had to
from that
and
one
they probably
microphone, and it
sounded
was also catching from, the other room mic that they had. Like, no, that shit was the
and
best.
on top of that when you saw those people live you're like holy crap they sound so much better because
Right?
recording wasn't that good whereas now recording is almost makes you sound better than the live stuff.
Yes, and that's
I
totally
mean, that was a
changed in the
trappings
last
of a
50
whole
years.
bunch of 90s and
That's
2000s
like
bands and
completely changed
stuff.
within my lifetime, honestly. Hey,
Oh,
just let's
definitely.
we
All right.
continue it,
Are you
but
done?
we're literally I got all done with my stuff. Yep. And I'm
All right.
like, so do we want to start with the Harley one? Like just go right into chaos in general, the level 18 to 21 one?
Um, should
Because it
we?
launches from here.
Right. Do you want to go to do this on the map, the watch David first, and then come back to the Belfry
No, because
and do that?
the watch stuff
Because he
engages
might
for when we're
change.
out there. Well, he might change, but that's okay. The watch stuff, it's
Okay.
just, you know
All
what I
right.
mean? If we do this, I don't know if it's going to change, but if it does, that's all right, because then there will be a different watch person out there for the
Okay.
next night, and then we pick up the watch stuff anyway. Because no matter when we do this, that will occur, basically. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me just grab something from the fridge.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I say we start the Harley. Let's do the Harley Quinn thing.
All right, I'm going to run an ad then, and then we'll
Since
be ready
we're
to
in the
go.
Belfry and we're not, you
Perfect.
know what I mean? Since we're in there and we're not, because I do want to clean the city.
Yeah, we can do that after. Maybe we do the Harley Quinn and then clean the city.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's a great idea. I love it.
All right, I'll be right back.
Cool. Running an ad. So yeah, just while Bro is out, while the ad's running, I don't know if anyone hears me, but figure I'll chat a little bit during the intermission. Always been a Batman fan. since I was a kid. Not as into the way they've taken Batman now into like a heavy beat 'em up kind of a guy and a heavy like he's not as much as a detective as he is like an enforcer. Which, they've painted Gotham as a darker place, and and society has gone to a more control-y sort of fashy place now, which I don't really appreciate. So Batman kind of has gone there too. I understand some of the modern writers have kind of taken a bit of a different tack with it, but the movies have surely gotten a bit like overarching and fashy in a certain sense. But the idea that he doesn't want to
Batman movies?
use, yeah, yeah, but the idea that he doesn't want to use that tool of being able to see into everybody, sort of like, or at least I think it's Lucius Fox that actually says to him, is like, yeah, yo, you shouldn't be doing this. Like that check and balance is good, but I feel like Batman's kind of become an enforcer, and I kind of like the old detective Batman a little bit better. And
Well,
I
I
know
was
there's
just gonna
writers
say
in the
that.
comics doing it, and writers in the graphic novel writers love delving into Batman detective feels. You know what I mean?
Remember the
But
Long
the
Halloween?
popular
That was all
Batman is,
detective.
oh god, right? Wow. Forgot about that like 100, dude. That is,
That
yo.
was a great series.
Wow, I forgot about that. I need to reread that.
Forget the guy's artist. They made an anime
The
of it.
Long
I
Halloween.
downloaded it, and I haven't watched it, but I remember that coming out. And it was like, oh, it's gonna take a year, and each
Right?
comic was a different month.
Oh god, that was so good. And at that point, Long Halloween, did they use the Dark Knight
There was a
Batman? There were
goofy.
3 Batman titles at that time. Batman,
No,
Detective
it was a
Comics, and
separate. It was an Elseworld. I don't know if it was a full Elseworld, but it was its own
it
thing.
was its own thing,
And it wasn't.
standalone.
It wasn't in. It's half and half if that was in continuity or not.
Right?
Some people say it is, and some people say it isn't. So it's
Hey, and you know what? I went and did my Twitch recap. I got to say, just totally off topic because I'm thinking of a different tag to toss in here. But my 3 favorite tags that everybody liked the most, that like got people to our stream, is all are welcome, vibin, and chilled.
like vibing.
Yeah, yeah, it got like that's like the most like popular tags from our stream. Like the people like found and those are the most popular tags that I kind of created. I'm sure other people write
Nice.
vibin too, but that's not one of the official tags. You know what I mean? So chilled
Right.
and vibin and all are welcome. They those are my what people that come to this stream come off of the most, as far as if they're looking using tags to look up a stream.
Oh, you do have Gotham Knights in there. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's the
Yeah.
game. But I wonder if that should be a tag also.
Well, the game brings its own tags, whatever that game
Okay.
has.
All right.
So it brings RPG, action, adventure game. But of the tags that I've like just typed in myself, all are welcome, vibin', and chilled are the ones that bring the most people. Because
Bring the
Twitch
milkshake
recap
to the yard.
yeah. All are welcome, vibin', and
That's it.
chilled. Bring all the milk. Not my
Right.
milkshake. Oh my god. All are welcome, vibing and
Bring the
chill.
vibe
Bring
to
all
the
the boys
yard.
to the yard. Bring all the twitches to the yard.
Right.
Oh man.
My
If I had
vibing brings a.
milkshakes, I'd be bringing people to the yard.
Uh,
Although I would have actual
that
vanilla
lady.
milkshakes with 2 squirts extra, and that would bring people to the yard, regardless of if I had
That lady
chesticles
dated
that
Bill Murray
breasticled.
for a little bit last year.
That what?
The lady that sings that song, I forget her name,
I don't
but
remember
she was
either.
dating Bill Murray for like 4 or 5 months last
No
year.
shit, that's crazy.
And
Who
like
wouldn't want to
he's like
date Bill Murray?
70, and
I'm straight. I
she's
might
in
date
her
Bill Murray.
40s or something. Oh hell yeah,
Dude is
who
cool.
wouldn't? That's exactly.
Yeah, no, that's
And you know
wild,
what?
dude. She's got to be not too old, right? She's probably
Oh
got to be in her
no,
30s.
she's in her 40s. She was in
Okay.
her 40s.
Yeah, but that's cool as
But
fuck.
and I gotta say this. I was watching a podcast with Howie Mandel and um these other comedians and stuff, and he was giving his stuff. That whole thing there's 2 things I gotta say.
Two.
that whole thing that he does, like where he was like a weird guy.
Who?
And he
Mandel?
did and he did the glove.
Right,
He
way
got
back.
dared to go on stage in
Oh,
like
no way.
75 or something like
Yes,
that.
I
Yeah,
heard
he was
about
like,
it, but I
me
only
and my
heard
friends
like
just went
a
out to
meme
a
about it,
comedy
like,
club,
oh, no, his friends, blah blah blah. But no, please tell me, because I
and they
really
dared him to go
want to
up,
know
and
about
he
that.
goes, I thought it would just be funny because someone was like, here's Howie Mandel, and he's like, that was going to be the joke because who the hell am I?
Right?
And he got up on stage and people were like, what? And he's like, wait, what? And did that whole, because he was like nervous as shit. And he was like, I'm a germaphobe, so I always carried around those gloves with me. And he's
Wow.
like, I just put my hands in the pocket and was like, let me do this. And he put it over his head, and he's like, I just, you know, used to breathe on it to make the fingers move, but I did it enough where it popped off my head. And he's like, I had the wherewithal to like get off the stage because everyone's laughing.
Right,
And he's like, the
right.
comedy club guy
Call it
was like,
done.
you got to come back tomorrow and do
Oh,
that
that's so
again. He was
cool.
like, what? Do what? He's like, I had no clue.
Right? Yeah, the glove thing. You did. Oh my God, how did you do that? You must practice that at home. Oh my God. You know, like, yeah. And
Yeah,
he's like,
like,
what?
how
What?
did you think of that?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
he's like, I didn't.
I'm a nervous motherfucker.
Well, he's like a super known as now as a
Yeah,
super like germaphobe
but that
and
wasn't known
everything.
back
But
in the day, and that's true. It brought his act like
and he's
as
like,
a thing.
yeah, like
That's
who would
like the be
have gloves
yourself
in their
ethic,
pocket?
right? That's
Yeah.
really the be yourself ethic. Like that's for real, dude. That's crazy. That's a great story. As
Oh,
far
it's
as like
so
famous
fan
people
like,
go, you know?
and he's so huge now. I mean,
Yeah.
he even said the Deal or No Deal show that he did. He was like, he's like, I didn't want to do it because I didn't get it. He's like, I thought it was stupid. He's like, my wife was like, just do it. He's like, she wanted me to get out of the house probably. But she was
Because
like,
he's
just do it,
eternally
whatever.
hilarious.
Because he's like, all I said was deal or no deal. He's like, it wasn't even funny, but it made him
Right?
so like a household name. And it's like, he's like, I still don't get it to this day, but I was like, that is hilarious. So he's
It
a guy
is,
that
dude.
he's a guy that just goes for it and is like, he kind of says like, I never say no to stuff. I just kind of say yes to everything in life.
You gotta be, well, not gotta be, but no, that's you know, and that is the thing. And then, but the thing is also yes and no yes buts though, because the yes
Right.
buts are so easy to get into. You know, it's yes and not yes but. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
like it's almost like, you know, I know you're a comedy guy. It's like the Chicago school, the freaking
Yes, and was the improv stuff.
yes, the Chicago school improv. It's got a Second City. It's the Second City
Yep.
feels. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep.
So it's the yes and not the yes but, and a lot of life can be lived that way. You know, cross out cigarette sign around the words yes but, and if you, in my experience, I still yes but, because yes but is necessary in life in a certain sense. But if you can cut out as much yes but as you can, and even just cutting it out is good. But if you can then turn it to yes and,
Well, that's like the it's almost like a religious thing where you say yes because you're like, okay, this is meant for something. Like, it's not religious, but you know what I mean? Like, you're giving in to the fact that you're gonna do something for someone else.
no, yes, no, and true, like,
And
yeah,
yes, and
in a real, yeah.
You said no, yes.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. No, yeah, I love the no, yeah. It's like
that's just
NAWH,
vocabulary
yeah, or
for type
NAH, yeah, nah, yeah.
Right?
No,
Exactly.
yeah.
Nah,
It's better than a
fucking
yes
yeah.
but.
What do you mean? Nah, yeah.
The yeah comes afterwards, maybe.
It's
I
like,
don't know. That's hilarious. Language, I love it. Call me out on all my contradictions so I can face them and beat them up and poop them out.
but it's like, it's also like, what people are saying when they say nah, but
Yeah, yeah.
or no,
No,
yes.
yeah.
Like you still know what people are saying, but it's like that instinctive to say no for some reason,
Right?
and then you go no, yes. You know what I'm talking about? Well, yeah. That's one thing I really don't like about the digital world is that those come across as like you don't get that little bit of commas and stuff don't work in text.
Right? Yeah, but
But
they
they work
they
in life,
should, because that's the way
like
I write things, as if, yeah,
they work
that's going to be a
literally
thing. But
in
yeah,
like literature and stuff because you're reading and you're being that, but like in a
right?
text or something it doesn't work, and that's like, but when you're in life with friends, like how many times did you say something that had commas and it made more sense than like, oh man, if I put that down digitally it just
Yeah,
would
how am I
sound
even
like
going
I'm
to
being a jerk.
annotate this? Yeah, 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 exactly. Well, certain people talk. I mean, I feel like I talk that way, and then there it is. Certain people talk dot dot dot, or would that be a
Right.
comma? Like blah blah, and then you say the other things, and yeah, that's with
Yeah, that's
writing.
what
Writing dialogue is like being able to do that,
well,
and
that's
that's
why I really
difficult. Yeah,
I
everyone thinks
love
they can be a writer,
language.
and yes, you can describe things. Everyone can and
That's why
describe things in
writers
a neat
are
way,
fantastic.
but writing dialogue and, I don't know, it's
Well, it's like
describing is
good
one
movie
thing, but
writers are
writing what
good
someone
movie
else might
writers.
say, yes, right,
Script,
yeah,
I should say.
yeah. Well, script
Because they
writers, yeah,
know how people talk and they put it on paper where and then the actors do it. But
right.
it's not like when you can write how people actually talk is so different than like
It
just
is,
literature.
yeah.
Because a lot of literature is not really how people talk.
No, but you
You know,
can, yeah. It
right.
makes you feel it when it's said, and yeah, it's so like flowery or whatever is the word. I don't know, but yes, I get what you say, and I believe
Yeah,
that
yeah.
100.
I mean, that's why people love like Hemingway and Mark Twain and stuff because they wrote in a way that like people spoke. And that's
Right?
so hard to do because most people, I mean, plus you have editors and everything else, but that's why there's, I hate to say it this way, but a lot of people don't know grammatic. Not that I do either, but like
I
writing
was like,
grammatically doesn't
yeah, yeah,
sound like how people talk.
it's true. Just coughing at that time. I wasn't laughing, but like,
No, but I know what you mean. Like, yeah, it's
it
like,
is the way. Like a lot of people don't know it, and it's a different feel, 100% different feel. And if you can write, like, I don't know, I feel like I can write dialogue very well, but I know there are just some people that I've read, and I can't even think of their names, but there's some authors that I've read that aren't even very storied authors, but just, books that I've liked and enjoyed that just like,
right.
you know,
Even some of those Star Wars
or
novels and
even like
stuff.
Stephen King
Like,
does, just for like a,
right.
and it's hard to read, but when you're in the zone of what his book is, then you read the
Right, you feel
dialogue
like you're listening
properly.
to someone.
Yeah, yeah. It's
You're
so,
not reading literature, you feel like you because you create it in your head and you're like, "Oh, this guy sounds like that,
yep,
and
yep.
this guy
And you
does
do
this."
your
I mean,
work. Yeah,
a
that's
lot of
your mind
comics is
doing
that
your
way.
work. Oh, 100%. Yep. It's just lucky to
I
have the
mean,
pictures with comics too, but and then
right.
like people
Like,
like our friend Corey, they design the words so that you get like, oh, that one has blood dripping when he said,
yeah, there's
this is
emphasis
dangerous, and then
through
literally the words drip blood, on the in the word bubble.
italicized and
Yep,
like,
yep.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
But
mean, like
writers have a harder time
Thor
doing it,
always had a different like when Walt Simonson was doing it, Thor always had a
Oh
different
my
font than
God,
other
right?
people because he was Asgardian.
Yeah, and yeah, yeah.
So
Oh,
his
so
font was
cool.
always different, and you always like it
Excellent
was
point.
written in a
Yep.
different way. Also,
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
his he
We should
didn't.
just call this
Was
comics
it
book chat.
right? Wasn't his wife the writer of Thor? Actually, him
I
and his
don't know.
wife both did it. I know he wrote some, but I know Louise Simonson
Right, right. I don't know
was a
what if
big
she did
writer on a
Thor.
lot of them.
No, but she's
I
serious in
think
her own right.
I, but yeah, I think they did a bunch of books together. I think she did Thor after a while. But I know some of the quintessential Walt Simonsons were he was writer artist and all that.
Yeah, yeah. That Thor stuff was, yeah, and he does writer and art too, a lot.
I love his art. I mean,
Oh my God, right?
and that's that. I don't know. Nowadays, with all digital and everything, like I love the art of all the new comics and stuff. Like, because they're doing it through. They're not inking it and doing the
Hmm.
traditional stuff, but that stuff where it was like you could tell pen on paper.
Yeah, yeah, you
I
could.
love that stuff.
Yeah, you see the
Even the Joe
scratches.
Kubert
You
stuff,
know,
Adam Kubert and Andy Kubert, all those guys, like you would tell that okay, and even you would see a different inker, and you're like, oh, this guy makes the art a little bit different
right?
than the pencils, and I always thought that was cool. Like when Frank Miller and Klaus Janson,
Oh wow, right?
they made a
Jeez.
great team, but when
I didn't
Klaus
forget
Janson
I didn't
would,
forget Frank Miller, but I'm sorry I forgot Klaus Janson because yes, talent for
because he
sure.
was mostly an inker for the most part,
Right?
and when he would ink different people, he would change the artwork and stuff, but in a good way, and it would be different. And even John Romita Jr. was one of those
Oh,
guys who was like,
JRJ,
I'm just
dude.
going to do my own stuff for a while.
Hmm.
Because he was traditional for a while, I mean. And then he got that style of that chunky style, which I really
Yeah,
like.
and he was like really like schooled in his dad's steeped in his dad's school of like, and his dad taught a lot of people. I mean,
I
but
got to
his
shake
dad,
John Romita Sr.'s hand once.
yeah, hell yeah.
I don't know if you were there, but
I
I
don't
went
think
with
I was
Dad
there.
one
If
day
you
to.
went to
I don't think
Marvel,
you
I
were there
never went to
either.
the big
Yeah,
Marvel stuff. I never got to show up at the head studio of like you got to go to the office of Marvel
yeah.
to talk to
And it
the
was
guy. Shake his
like
hand,
he
be
took
there.
Dad around and talked to him and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was cool as shit. And
I
I,
bet.
I got
I
my
mean,
hand crushed by Joe Kubert also.
right? Oh my God, everyone gets their hand crushed. But well, not anymore. But yep, if you've
But
shaken
yeah,
his
yeah.
hand, your hand has been crushed. Joe Kubert. God,
But yeah, I mean,
that freaking guy,
I
an
think it was only
institution
once
in
that we went,
himself.
but I saw his actual drawing desk,
Right? Oh yeah,
which
yeah, same.
blew me away. He had a paper plate that held his inkwell. Like, it was an upside down paper plate with like a thing cut out in the middle. And it was all dirty and everything because of the ink coming out of it. But he would draw a line of ink. He would do, that
Right?
which I never understood. I still don't to this day of like just drawing a circle for a head and you know they would map it
Yeah.
out, but he would draw basically in ink. He was basically like he would use crow quills and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And he had this paper plate that had the circle cut out in the middle with the inkwell in there. And it was all messy and shit like that. And it's like, God damn.
Right?
And he was like doing some Sergeant Rock shit or just, drawing
Yeah,
something
Sergeant
like,
Rock came back at
hey, what are
around
you
that
doing?
time,
Let me
yep.
get out of my seat. And it's like, yeah, well, he was like doing commission work, I think, or something
Right.
like that. But
Dude, but that's the best. It's like, it's somebody's you were part of the experience of some artwork. And if it was commission work or it was in a comic book, you were part of that where I stood up for a second and got back to it later after I met, so and so and his kid,
yeah, at some
Well, not
point,
just so
right?
and so, because Dad worked at his school for years and had an intimately like work
He's
relationship
like,
with the
hey, this
guy.
is my son. You want to
But
meet him? And it's like,
but yeah,
okay,
yeah,
great.
it's like, but
Nicest guy and all that
somehow,
stuff. And like
you're in
meeting
between some.
Irwin.
You are like cosmically, you're in between some lines, in some artwork somewhere from that guy. Just
Well,
like
I've
we're
always
in
been
a,
a
in
cusp
in between a
kid.
lot of lines of our dad's artwork.
Yeah.
Same kind of feels.
Well, that's why I think we were in the perfect thing of, because technically we're the last generation that really didn't know the internet.
Right, not
You
to
had to
start.
go
Yep.
meet people. You had
Yeah.
to go to a museum. You had to go see something. You had to read something. You had to be like, hey, check this out.
Right.
It wasn't recommended to you unless it was by someone that you really knew.
Even
And
our
it's like,
cousin,
okay, I like this guy.
our cousin that watches sometimes, like I said, I don't go by names on the stream, but I
Right,
forget what
right,
his Twitch name is, but he watches sometimes, and same kind of thing. But he was like born when it was computers and internet was like just
right,
starting up. Like,
right. We didn't even know computers. We
well,
got a new
he was
computer.
born previous to internet, but by the time he became like
Right,
a kid,
right,
I guess
right.
around like what
AOL was a
mid
thing.
straight in the middle of the 90s, somewhere in like in the thick of the 90s, he was like 10 years old. I don't know exactly, but you know what I mean. So
Right, right. That's what I mean.
that's like
We
he
knew
was
when there was no
there for it
computers.
and whatever. Yeah, and he grew up in a house that had a computer from birth, pretty much, or just about. No, not from birth,
Crappy.
but from when he had
No, well,
memories.
when
Because
he
we weren't
right when he
80s
was
computers, we were early 90s. We were like, I don't remember exactly the year we got it, but we were 386, and then they got
well, it wasn't.
the next
I want to
generation of
say
computers, I think.
either Kandar or Leo weren't they like the first people to have a computer?
Oh yeah, Leo was the first
Right.
because his
I think
dad was an
Leo. Like
IBM dude, like a real IBM. Like I go fix
it's like
the
holy
giant
shit. What is
machines
this?
and the personal computers. His dad walked around with a damn static box on him because he did work all the time and like fixed components.
Right.
Like he wasn't like, oh, I do the things and the stuff
I
and
didn't know what he did. That's what he did.
like
Wow.
straight like
I
he'd
knew
do
he was super
everything.
smart
He
and all
could
that.
program, he could do he was like, when computers were like you have to do all of the things to make the computer do the thing, he was one of those guys. He could fix
Right.
it, he could program it, he could do and when programming was like you literally had to write all of the things. It wasn't like, well, we're going to use this programming program here and these 18 other programming programs to do this thing and these amalgamated, it was like you like did it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it
You
was like
like
E
wrote the
plus
shit.
36, E plus 42,
You
E
know,
plus whatever.
yeah, whatever, yeah, and hexadecimal codes and shit like that. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
and Leo was like one level out from that. The kid of that guy who just was steeped in it just because he didn't even have to school for it. He was just there, you know. And then then Kandar had computers early too. His dad was a mathematician and all about that kind of stuff too,
That was
and
a
ended up
professor, if
teaching.
I don't believe.
Yeah, he taught
Right?
math,
He was a teacher.
but I think he
But was
learned
he
like
was he college or was he like just a regular school
no, he
teacher?
taught college, I believe.
That's what I thought.
And mom was a
Wow.
doctor, so they had the bucks
Yeah,
and the interest,
I
so they
remember
had
that.
that stuff. But Gandar got a computer at the same time we did, and Leo just always had computers because
Yeah,
like
and
spare
there was
parts.
Corey's dad actually did too.
Yep, he was a bit of a techie too. Like
He had the Apple stuff real early.
we were early adopters because we badgered dad, and we were nerds.
And then when Dad got one, he was
Oh
like,
my
"Oh, I'm
god!
taking this over."
Right? He was like, "Wait, this shit's cool."
Right?
I don't know if
I
mom
could
was all
email my
about it or not
buddies
all
and
about it, but like dad was a hater until it happened. I know that. And I mean, he bought it.
until
He
he
spent
got
the
it.
3.5K on it, honestly. So, well, mom did too, but you know what I mean? Like, they did make an investment, and dad wasn't too keen on it apparently, even when he made the investment.
I think it was yeah. It
But
was one
he
of
was
those
maybe a
gifts of like
half-half, like let's see. But I mean,
he
that was
didn't
like a
know what
three
he
and a half
could
K
do, and then
investment back
once
in
he
the day.
figured that out, I mean, some of
He
the
didn't realize
stuff,
how
the
he was
Ren
going
and
to connect with
Stimpy
all his car
drawings that
guys
he
so
did,
easy.
that too. But I mean,
Car guys
that
love this
was when
shit.
AOL came out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Remember when he would do like
I'm in
just the
18
paint
groups.
drawings, and he was like, "Oh, you can draw this," and we're like, "Holy crap, he's doing it pixel by pixel!"
Oh
Like,
my god, right? MS Paint, like the
and it would
original
be like,
MS
"What?"
Paint on Windows
Yeah, MS
3.1.
Paint. It's actually it wasn't even. Yeah,
It might not even be called. No, it wasn't MS Paint. It was Paint at the time, right? I
right. It
correct
was just
myself.
paint.
Yeah.
It was just paint because it was like Windows 3.1 or whatever,
Yeah.
or
It was.
it
It was 3.
wasn't DOS. It was like
Yeah.
the first interface.
Well, yeah. Well,
Well,
not the first,
Apple
but
had the first
3.1
interface.
was evolved a
Yeah,
bit, but 3.1 was the first like really stable, full color, awesome
yeah, because Apple
like
had the
modern
actual
Windows, even
interface
though
better
95 was the first modern Windows. But
first, but
early modern Europe,
PC had DOS for a while because I remember doing
it's
DOS
all
stuff.
relative. Oh, right? Yeah. Yeah, we did a lot of DOS stuff.
C/scan disk, C dash,
Yeah.
run, and then backslash what game you wanted to play or something. You had to put in I mean, shit. I remember floppy disks.
Yeah,
Not even the hard
the
disk.
3.5s and the 3.5s were the ones that everyone
Wasn't
calls
it?
floppy disks.
I want to say it was Oregon Trail or one of those that like we had on floppy disk or something.
Maybe.
I don't know if it was Oregon Trail, but it was. We had a game.
We had a bunch of stuff on both
I'm
type of
thinking
floppies.
of Return to Zork. I'm thinking of Return to Zork. That was like huge. Remember that?
Return to Zork was probably on the 1.44 floppies, like
but that was all hard disk.
Well, yeah, but hard
Remember,
disk
it had
doesn't
like
mean
12 or 13.
hard
But I
disk
mean,
means
the
hard drive. But yes, the
now it does.
the
but
1.44
you know what I mean?
floppies.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they were hard because
Well,
the
they were
other
hard,
ones
but
floppies.
people like me would
When
complain that
those
people
came
called
out,
them
those
hard
were
disks.
called hard disks.
Well, they weren't called that, but many
know,
people
but-
did call them that. And then
Really?
that's why people
I
like
thought
me would
that's what their
complain
name
that
was.
like it was like, no, those are not hard disks. Hard disks are your hard disk, your hard drive.
Because it was still a floppy inside. But
Yeah, exactly. It was just in a hard
it was like
case
a mini
or
floppy or
something,
something. Yeah.
in a stronger case, because everybody's
remember it
floppies
was
were
like-
getting destroyed. So they figured when the next
Civ-
standard comes out, we're gonna make plastic
like-
around it.
Civ 2 or something like that, Civilization 2 or 3 or something, you had like 14 hard disks just to install it, and you had to put one in there to play it.
Yeah, you had to have the boot disk.
To start up the boot disk. That's right.
Yeah, and you'd even start up your entire computer with those stats, just so you could play that game. And when you were done with that game, it exited. Then you would basically reboot your computer and start it up regularly to use it normally, because that game needed to just load straight in with those settings, or it wasn't going to work. It's just great.
Like even like
boot disk shit. No one remembers that. Well, not no one, but
our generation does.
you know what? I think we should start playing, because we literally 2 minutes 35 seconds ago crossed the 1 hour threshold of streaming.
Oh damn!
I am not complaining, because I love talking about this stuff, and I'm literally gonna mark this, and I'm gonna make a cut of this that is just like
The 1 hour bullshit hour.
Gen X bullshit hour or some shit, right?
1 hour BS hour.
Yeah. Gen X. I love the 1 hour BS hour. All right, so that's what it is going to be. 1 HR.
That's usually what
BS,
it seems to be.
HR. It does, but
that should
oh my
be the
god.
name of our podcast.
The 1 hour BS hour. I love it, dude, right? The 1 hour BS hour.
We'll go for like 3 hours. So it's a joke also.
Oh no, that's excellent. I do love it. Yo, that's the name, dude. I think we got it. I think that's the name. I love it.
Because I thought
The 1 hour
other
BS
names
hour,
they didn't
and
really
to make
hit,
sure.
but-
No, it does, right? It hits me. I like
Well,
it.
I'm saying the other ones that was like the Crasty and Cause and the Cause and Crasty and all those, like none of them really hit, but the 1 hour BS hour.
100%. Yes, I agree.
I like that. And we have to go an hour minimum.
But that's the idea that we're saying here. You're not hearing Uncle Chris on this one here. Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, you're not hearing that.
Heard Vic. I didn't hear what he said though.
Here, he thinks it should be just the BS hour, because you're already saying, you're just being duplicate. But what you didn't hear about the conversation, V, was that the idea is that it's even going to go over an hour all the time. So the joke is that it's definitely overstated as the 1 hour BS hour, but the joke is also that,
that we never go an hour.
That we never go an hour.
We
always go over. So yeah, I know you have a very interesting dry sense of humor, but you missed that part of the conversation. So I don't know if maybe. What do you think? Do you like it, or do you think we should go without that one? What do you think, V? You still like your way? You like on my way if we do it that way? All right. So he.
Well, let's have a subcategory of the BS hour with V.
It's not like I had it.
What if we had the BS hour be 1 hour of the 1 hour BS hour, which took longer than an hour, and that one BS hour was the BS hour with V.
What?
He goes, what? Exactly. Oh, hello. I'm going to actually hit the intermission button and be back in like just a minute minute.
Sounds good.
And then we'll start playing, I guess.
Yeah.
All right? Because
Sounds good.
friggin' conversations, bro. I love it.